Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where you're joining us from in the world. And welcome to another edition of the Cannabis Show. As always, we've got Mr. Matthew Dent down there in Australia. G'day, Matthew.
Jimmy boy, how you going?
I'm going good. We've got a great packed show as per usual for you in this edition. We've got Damian Solomon from King Solomon Fertilizers. We've got Avi from Gemmecert, who's going to show you how you can in-house analyze your flower and your extract. Absolutely fascinating. Do not miss that. And we've got our very own Jan Paul DeWitt from here in the UK, our IPM specialist. He's going to tell us all about predators and beneficial insects. So fantastic show, fantastic lineup. What's coming on next, Matty boy?
Jimmy, very excited. I want to let the folks watching know that we're going to list all of the times of the different segments and get that to pop up on the screen now through the magic of editing. So if you want to fast forward through to anything that's of interest, check out those times and do so now. Now we have the amazingly talented Nina Dobrow bringing you the World Cannabis News, brought to you by the good folk at MMJDaily. For all your news from the global cannabis world, check out www.mmjdaily.com. Nina, over to you.
Thanks, Manu Jim, for the nice introduction again. Welcome to the news brought to you by MMJDaily, already episode 6. For the first time, a North Macedonian grower has obtained a license for the export of dry cannabis flowers as an active substance in herbal form. North Macedonia doesn't have any specific regulations for the export of cannabis, but it does have regulations for the export of medicines. The company PHCan has worked following EMEA guidelines since its inception, positioning itself as a pharma company. PHCan was able to satisfy all the requirements to get an export license. On June 2nd, the arrangement between Hexo and Zenabis got closed, marking the official acquisition of Zenabis by Hexo. Through this acquisition, Hexo will capitalize on the expanded footprint, especially regarding Zenabis' operation in Europe. Australian grower Little Green Pharma has acquired a GMP cultivation and manufacturing facility in Denmark from Cannabis Growth for 20 million Canadian dollars. We have been particularly impressed with the levels of expertise, professionalism and engagement from all Denner's facility staff, said Flete Solomon, LGP Managing Director. We have been particularly impressed with the levels of expertise, professionalism and engagement from all Danish facility staff, said Flete Solomon, LGP Managing Director. LGP will maintain existing staff at the facility and looks to expand the workforce as production output grows. In the first week of June, Morocco has passed legislation to legalize medical cannabis. After countries like South Africa and Lesotho, Morocco too looks to capitalize on the cannabis industry momentum to boost the country's economy. Mexico's Supreme Court has taken down laws banning cannabis adult use, thus allowing the country to move faster towards legalization, while Congress lost its momentum. This is a step forward for the rights of cannabis users, said Sarah Snap, co-founder at Institution REA, a think tank. But there's still work to be done in Congress to be able to regulate the market in a socially just way. This was already all the news of episode 6 already. I would now like to give the stage to my colleagues, Matthew and Jim. Enjoy the show. See you later.
Thank you, Nina. Fantastic. Consummate professional as ever. Brilliant. And thank you to MMJDaily for helping with the content of Nina's news. Now we're going to cross across the pond to Damian Solomon over in the States. Damian, can you hear him?
Damian Solomon, all the way from the United States. Damian runs 2 cannabis businesses in the States there. He has PlantGeek Consulting and also King Solomon Nutrients, all hail the king. He's doing a lot of fantastic things in the market over there and regularly visits a lot of farms. Welcome to the Can Hub Show, Damian.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Morning, Damian. Keeping well? Well, sorry, evening where you are, morning where we are.
Yes.
Obviously, a lot of us in Europe look to the US and Canada to look at their market being so much further advanced than ourselves. What kind of trends and evolution are you seeing in the US at the moment?
Well, I mean, I think as the industry kind of has matured in North America, mainly like in Canada, it's really commercialized, and then other key states, of course, like California, the Pacific Northwest, and now you start to see more states broadening their laws, allowing for recreational cannabis. And so what that's done now is really opened up some really key markets. You have, of course, like the Northeast. You have New York just went recreational not too long ago. A couple of other key states, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, have strong recreational markets. So now you really start to see it evolving as an industry, whereas in the beginning, some of the early days, it was still very much a legacy market. You had a lot of legacy technology that was there, and again, it's, you know, where this industry came from. It came from out of the shadows, and so unfortunately, the early pioneers in the industry didn't have access necessarily to top horticultural access like we all know about, right? A lot of it, you know, Dutch technology, whether it be growing systems, lighting systems, the grow media like, you know, Cultiling, Grodan, all these other companies are really now starting to deliver products from traditional horticulture, which now allow these growers, you know, the key tools to be able to survive in a regulated, licensed market, because now it needs to run like a business, and they need to look at costs, they need to look at efficiencies, they need to look at yield, you know, cost per yield at the end of the day, because it's about trying to get more. It's about trying to get higher quality product at a lower price point to more people around the world.
I think it's interesting as well that you're seeing the evolution, not just on the growing side, but on the post-harvest side of bespoke cannabis products, rather than sort of adapting technologies that we've had and we've known to try and suit the product. It's now bespoke to the cannabis. Correct.
Yeah, because I mean, I think a lot of this stuff, you know, is definitely, you can use about 75 to 80% of that technology, and then you have to customize it per the actual crop and then the end result as well. So yes, that's what's great about a lot of this technology. It's highly adaptable. A lot of it's process driven. So as long as you can figure out those small nuances, then you have a high likelihood of having consistent, uniform, repeatable outcomes. And that's really what it's about.
I think I want to jump in there, Damian. I want to ask about, you know, comment on exactly what you said about uniform outcomes, consistency, ease of use, all of these things. And I want to segue that into your King Solomon nutrient range. Can you tell us a little bit about the work you've been doing there with King Solomon Plant Nutrition?
Yeah, you know, just quickly, you know, as I was working through the consultancy firm, one of the kind of the repeated challenges that I saw with a lot of these larger facilities, and these were larger MSOs, these were large public Canadian companies, is that as companies were trying to scale up, the some of the equipment and some of the supplies that they used to use from the local grow shop don't scale up, right? And so I saw a challenge where there was a big gap in the plant nutrition and just better products, or products that were geared more towards commercial growers, right? And what that meant was what you saw out on the market prior to legalization was products that are mainly liquid based, multiple parts, just really basic nutrition, and something that wasn't really helping to like push plant growth. It was just kind of giving them an average growth, but then it was really expensive. And so, you know, I'm a farmer first. I'm an old greenhouse grower trained by Dutch people. So, I mean, you know, there's a certain level of efficiency that you want to obtain to make sure that you're able to, you know, to have a sustainable business model. So what I did is I wanted to bring better products at a lower cost point to the market. And so I started King Solomon Plant Nutrition brand. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're commercial, we're geared towards the commercial grower, large format sizes. I have a dry powder line, I have a liquid line. and it's really driving for efficiencies, driving for optimization of the nutrition, but also in a way that's operationally efficient for the technicians to be able to deploy it in their system. So farmer first, and I wanted to deliver products that worked, number one, that were cheap to use, and weren't gonna cause any other problems operationally. So
yeah, and congratulations on that. The pictures we see on Insta and on LinkedIn of some of the results your growers are getting speak for themselves. And so kudos to you for going ahead with that. And certainly looking forward to hearing more from that side of your business moving forward.
I think certainly as well, given everything we've discussed with the advances in equipment, knowledge, and obviously products, fertilizer and post-harvest, we're in quite an enviable position in Europe where we're looking back to yourselves and see the pitfalls that you've gone through your market and also the Canadian market. How do you think that could benefit the European market moving forward?
Well, I mean, I think obviously it's one of those situations where the early movers are the ones really making the mistakes and learning from the mistakes. So I think where Europe can really gain valuable insight is to how to set up commercial viable production facilities, cultivation facilities, right? Learning from the pitfalls that we've had, the mistakes that we've had, and then really trying to introduce better technology and automation that will help to take away some of the more mundane things that happen in the facility, to just allow the grower to have more time to do what's the most important throughout the day, right? And so I think it's kind of still a melting pot still of technology and love and passion and science. And so but again, we're the first movers. We saw the pitfalls. We're able to make those changes and to reduce that learning curve going into Europe, right? And where I think that we start to see some of these early adopters, like the Netherlands just came out with their coffee shop project, and I believe it's a really nice program because the tax structure for the first 5 years is basically zero. So they're going to allow the market to kind of evolve on its own outside of the tax structure to be able to then come in and say, okay, what's the smartest way? What's the most efficient way, the most effective way to set up a tax structure that's not going to kill the industry, but still benefit both the government and the consumers. So I think that, as they start to learn not only from the cultivation side and the technology side, but the policy side, hey, what are the good policies? What are the good tax structures? What are the good regulations that allow this business to thrive without, making it so hard with red tape that it suffocates itself?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we've seen some countries, I guess, kind of going through that red tape thing now, and hopefully lessons are being learned as we speak. We certainly see some countries close to home here in Australia that seem to put together a really good framework, but the devil's in the detail, and one or two things can really bring it undone. So it's an excellent point you make about the Dutch coffee shop project, and from a Royal Brinkman point of view, it's certainly something we're looking forward to, and also looking forward to being proud of when it's up and running.
Yes, I think it's going to be a fishbowl, and I think you're going to see most of the European countries model their programs after that program.
Yeah, it's certainly being watched very closely at a governmental level, I think, across the continent. So it'd be interesting to see how it's rolled out.
Yes.
So as soon as we can clone you, Damian, and get 5 or 6 of you running around Europe, I think the better. But for now, guys, we'll bring you some more of Damian on the Can Hub show, hopefully moving forward. Of course, we'll throw the details of PlantGeek Consulting down in the spare screen here. And also, we look forward to bringing you some more information about the King Solomon nutrients as well.
Fantastic.
Excellent. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Thank you. Pleasure to meet you.
Thanks again, Damian Solomon. Fantastic to have a man with his knowledge join us on the Can Hub show. He's an absolute encyclopedia of cannabis knowledge. You know, his experience reads like an Elton John set list, and it was a real pleasure to have him on board. Next, we're going to shoot over to Avi representing Gemmecert. These guys do some really cool spectroscopy equipment that's going to allow you guys to hone in on your THC, CBD, active water levels quickly and easily. Jimmy, let's get him on board.
Spectroscopy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Can Hub show. Have you guys ever wanted to know how much THC or CBD your plants are sitting at? Do you ever really need to make a decision and think, far out, by the time we harvest, get it to the lab, what if we're in, what if we're out? What's the active water of this flower doing? Where are we at? Again, where are we at? Jim.
Well, worry no more, young man. We can take all that indecision away with Gemmecert's in-house testing system. Absolutely fantastic, fast, and you can do it in-house without all the expense of sending stuff away. And we have Avi Rosenbaum from Gemmecert to tell us all about this amazing system. Hello, Avi.
Hey, Jim. Hey, Matthew. Thank you guys both for having me here. Great to be on the show. I'm a big fan of the show, as it is. So I can give you guys just a little quick background about Gemmecert. We could run through some questions, and hopefully everyone will find it of interest.
That sounds good, mate.
Fantastic. So Gemmecert, as you mentioned, we have an in-house potency and composition testing device for both cannabis and hemp. This is the device. You can see it right behind. There are a couple of them over here. I'm in our lab over here, in-house ISO certified lab. This is where we do all the R&D and data collection on the device. The Gemmecert device to date can test for total THC and CBD, as well as water activity in 3 modes of testing. Whole dried buds without harming the bud. So you test the whole bud in there, and it gives you the total THC, CBD, and water activity. By the way, the THC goes down to 0.2%, which of course for anyone in the hemp space, is going to be of quite a bit of importance. The second mode that the device tests with is ground material, so any sort of trim or biomass. And the third type of mode, which the device tests for, which we actually released about 6 or 8 months ago, is concentrates. Right now we test for raw ethanol-based extracts, like crude oils, that sort of thing. We're in the midst of adding solventless extracts and some other types of extracts as well, CO2-based butane extracts. So, the system is constantly updating. We're constantly adding additional features and improving the system as we go along. So that's just a little bit of background on the device.
Dabbers there.
Oh yeah. We're working on that. That's a hard. It takes a little bit longer to collect the data for those, but we're working on it.
Looking forward to that.
And
so do you want to sorry, Jimmy, you go.
I was just going to say, reading a bit about the kit, the level of accuracy that you get down to in the extract is very, very, very good, isn't it? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So in terms of the accuracy, we have, like I mentioned before, we have in-house in our headquarters here in Israel, we have a ISO 17025 certified HPLC lab. So because the Gemmecert, what's inside the sensor powering the device is a near infrared spectrometer. That's a sensor used in the pharmaceutical and food and beverage industries, which it's FDA approved. We've applied it here to cannabis and hemp. One of the biggest advantages of a near infrared spectrometer is that it's non-destructive, meaning that it doesn't harm the sample, doesn't affect the sample whatsoever. So that means, when anything we test in the device, so we run, let's say we want to test a flower in the device, we can then take that same flower and then run it through one of our in-house HPLCs we have over here, and just validate and make sure that the device is running accurate reading. So that's key, and that's why our device doesn't come to replace the lab necessarily. We work with clients who have their own in-house labs, work with their labs, but we give a tool for fast, easy, and efficient in-house testing. If you want to quickly, without destroying flowers, be able to understand what your batch variability and variances, that's really what the tool is ideal for.
Avi, also, customer asked me the other day about the kind of turnaround time you can expect before you can test the flower. Can you tell us a little bit about the tricks you can use to speed up the drying and still get an accurate result?
Yeah, sure. So we have clients who use the device to test as they approach the harvest in order to determine optimal harvest time. So we have a rapid drying protocol, which we have a recommended protocol which we send out to all of our customers. So that way, let's say 2 weeks before the expected harvest date, customer wants to start testing and to get to that optimal THC level. We have a protocol which allows you to dry the flower, very efficiently within 24 hours or even a bit less. That way, you don't need to go through the entire curing process, which can normally take quite a bit longer in order just to test the flower. We are working. We do hope to be able to test wet, fresh flowers, but that's something that's challenging for anyone in the diagnostic space. So we're working on it, and we hope to have that relatively soon.
I think if anyone can do it, you guys can. That's for sure. So we'll watch this space. Do you want to give us a little bit of a look at the machine a bit closer, Avi, and sort of run us through definitely the componentry?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, yeah. So what you have here. So in order to operate the Gemmecert device, you pair it to a smartphone or tablet. So you need a smartphone or tablet which actually runs the actual test. So this is the app interface. You can see it. You choose the mode of testing. So like I said before, there are 3 modes of testing: whole, dried buds, ground material or trim, and extract. You can see there. So let's say for example you choose flower mode. So you just click flower, and then you prepare flower. Let's say here we have a flower we want to test. There's this pin over here, as you can see, and you just slide the flower onto the pin. Essentially, once the flower is on the pin like this, you lift up this drawer over here. Can you guys see this okay?
Yeah, looks good, mate. Yep.
You guys can see this okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And the pin sticks to the top of the drawer here. Sorry. And as you can see, the flower's inside this drawer. The drawer then lowers down into the device, and you're ready for testing. So once the flower's in here and you run a test, it takes about 4.5 minutes in order to get a result. The reason being, the spectrometer actually moves around. One of the additional technologies we implement in the device is the spectrometer can actually sense where the sample is, and it moves around and takes 24 different spots on the flower. The reason being, as I'm sure you guys know, a cannabis flower or hemp flower is a very heterogeneous, non-homogeneous. So you need to take multiple spots on the same sample in order to get the most accurate reading. So in that 4 minutes, the device actually goes around and takes 24 different sample readings on the sample, and that's how you end up with the most accurate reading. So that's pretty much it in terms of the operation. And at the end you get the results. And we also have a dashboard platform where you can see all your results, perform optimization and a statistical analysis, and really track everything that's going on. We have statistical tools, etc.
We're gonna put it down, if I can get my angles right. We're gonna put it down here in the corner for you guys to see as well.
Yeah. I recommend checking it out.
So, Avi, one of the things that really blew my mind when we were doing a bit of research into the equipment was the machine learning. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I mentioned before, we have here in our in-house lab, we have an in-house lab here. What we've done in the lab, we've collected over 15,000 cannabis and hemp samples from around the world. Really from Australia to North America, Europe, Israel, etc. Each one of these samples that we've collected, it's been run once in the Gemmecert, and then immediately thereafter, each sample, because it's not destroyed, is run in an HPLC, and that forms our cross-reference database, which really is what the whole system is constantly improving and adding on, and it helps us add features, improve accuracy and repeatability, and that's how the machine learning algorithm really, that's where it comes into effect. We've built an algorithm which, using the data we've collected in the database, is able to essentially improve our performance over time. So that's really, in terms of the machine learning algorithm, we're constantly improving it. But yeah, it's a piece of hardware, but there's quite a bit of a software component to it, which is constantly updating and improving components.
Cool.
Well, congratulations, Gemmecert, and of course yourself, Avi, for a fantastic piece of equipment. Guys, please get in contact. We can do you a ripper deal on a brand new Gemmecert machine. We can test your THC, your CBD, your active water. We can dial you in post-harvest. Get in touch. You've been a fantastic guest. Thank you so much, Avi. Looking forward to speaking soon.
Well, in this part of the show, we're joined by our very own Jan-Paul de Wit from here in the UK. Jan-Paul's an IPM specialist and part of the Brinkman team, global Brinkman team, looking after IPM here in the UK. Welcome, Jan-Paul.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Matthew. Good to be here.
Always a pleasure.
For our tech tip here today, mate. So we're talking IPM, we're talking beneficial insects for the uninitiated. What are some generalized tips for beginners on working with beneficial insects and things to look at?
Well, everybody knows in cannabis you cannot use any chemicals, so you have to be really preventive in your strategy. So first of all, you have to make a good plan with your local specialist. That's very important. And then you have to put in the right amount of beneficial species before you get the pest. It's very, very important. So the more soldiers you have in the crop, the better. Because in cannabis, we all know it can go wrong really, really quickly.
And what kind of factors can you look at to determine that? If you've got historical data, does that play a factor, or weather conditions, or predators that are relevant in that part of the world?
Yeah, all that you mentioned, it's one of the most important ones is the history of the crop. If you have crops in there earlier, a lot of the times the pests come back in the same space, same places, the same spots. So that's very important. Also, of course, not in every country we can use the same beneficials. Most of the one we use in cannabis we can, so that shouldn't be really a problem. And yes, you have to be, prepared, get your knowledge in, get to know the crop, know what the biggest pests are, make sure you have a good plan.
And of course, it's interesting that you mention, multiple scenarios depending on obviously different countries, climates, zones. At Royal Brinkman, we have IPM specialists representing most countries, and I think that is a strength of Royal Brinkman's. So, yeah, for people developing a program, speak to your local specialist who has, you know, a knowledge of the area and knows the kind of pest pressure you may experience. I think that's something that's really important. Would you agree, JP?
Yes, definitely. The local knowledge is very important, but then otherwise, because we have a big team, if we get the knowledge from all parts of the world, really, so we can really make a tailor-made strategy for your crop. Because in the biologicals, there's always things changing, and there's always a better way to approach it. And if we find that in a country, we can share it in other countries.
Just a pop quiz, just one from left field here. What is your favourite bug and why?
My favourite bug is probably Phytocylus persimilis, because it's so targeted and aggressive. Yeah, you can really see it attack the pest.
We're going to test my knowledge here. That's for spider mites.
It is, yeah. Very good, Matthew.
And guys, we're going to end on that. I'm kicking him off. JP, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks heaps for your tech tip. Guys, get in contact with Royal Brinkman regarding this subject. We'd be more than happy to help. You can contact us through CanHub or also the team there in the UK. It's been a pleasure having you on, JP.
No worries. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, JP. Absolutely fascinating. I think the predator side of Royal Brinkman and the IPM side of Royal Brinkman, one of our strongest suits right around the world. So thank you, JP, for that. Thank you to Nina for the fantastic news. As always, consummate professional. Thank you to Damian Solomon for joining us from over the pond. Absolutely fascinating. And from Avi at Gemmecert, who's going to help you analyze your flowers. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the Can Hub Show. Matty, thank you for attending as always.
Jim, I just want to finish up by saying what an amazing bunch of people we've had on the show so far. It's been a real cool journey for me. And, you know, the caliber of folk on this latest episode, again, is next level. Guys, if you want to get in contact with anyone from the show, drop us a line. Remember to check out MMJDaily. Remember to check out the CanHub website. We're here to support you guys, so we appreciate your viewing. And please stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day.